with all of you this afternoon. Thank you again to the Scottsdale Chamber. It is so exciting to be here, and Teresa over there, it was just kind of a vision we had over lunch, and now we're here today, so it's wonderful. And it's exciting to be here because this is home. Myself and my husband and kids, we are Scottsdale residents. So thank you all for all that you do for the Scottsdale community. Appreciate it. And also to the partners at AZTV, who I'm representing today, Channel 7 and MeTV as well. They'll tell you a little bit about it. So appreciate you inviting me here as well today. So we've got a lot to cover. So first of all, this is not an explosive device. It looks like it, but I am heavily wired. So just so you know, so nobody gets scared for that. All right. So when I was kind of preparing for today, and it was kind of post-pandemic marketing strategies, you know, obviously the thought is it post-pandemic, right? Because now all this variants and people, are we masking up again or not, But truly, obviously the pandemic happened, and then things obviously will change ever more, right? And so the agenda today that we have a lot to cover. So the one thing I will ask, if it's okay, is to hold your questions till the end. I know that's a little different, but we have so much content to go through. So just kind of write them down, save them, and then we'll do Q&A at the end if that's all right. Or we'll probably be here till midnight. So your families might get upset. So we're going to talk about the new norm now, because have you ever heard, like, when there's 2 days, I think, that everyone remembers, right? Where were you during 9/11, right? And then where were you when we're all sent home for COVID, right? That some day in March was the day that it really landed, right? We all saw it coming, but for real, we were all sent home. And the constant dialogue was, when are things going to go back to normal? Did you ever hear that? I just want things to be normal, right? But now we've learned there is no normal anymore. So we call it either the new norm now or the new never norm. So we'll talk about that. They're like, great. And so we're going to talk about how people have changed, how consumers have changed. All of us in the room, right, we're all part of a professional, right, business networking community, and we all have professional jobs. That's why we're here today. But each one of us was foundationally changed forever because of COVID. Not only, like, for example, I had COVID. I don't anymore. It was a long time ago. But not only, like, my taste. I don't know if any of you have had it. My taste is just not the same. And things that I used to enjoy, like Sauvignon Blanc wine, just taste icky now, which is so depressing, right? I don't enjoy it anymore. But that's just an example. But psychologically, emotionally, socially, right? We've all changed. So we're going to talk about that fundamentally. And then we're going to talk about the things that consumers are looking at today, right? The foundation and the power of relationships and building that relationship marketing and cause marketing, right? So corporate social responsibility. Then we're going to talk about the evolution of the marketing focus. So how many people have ever taken some kind of marketing class any time in their life, right? Okay, have you all heard of the 4 Ps of marketing, right? Okay. Well, the 4 Ps, right, which we know and love, have now been replaced by the 6 Cs. And so we're going to talk about that today. And then we're going to talk about understanding customer segment and segmentation, and then putting together an integrated strategic marketing plan. And you don't have to have $1 billion to do it, because I know there's all size companies here in this room. So we're going to give you some support to do that. But again, it's between the Scottsdale Chamber and AZTV, all of this is to help you grow your business. So thank you all for taking the time to come today. All right, so let's get to it. So starting with understanding how things have changed, right? We said things have foundationally changed forever. The consumer psychology, right? Things that we value have changed. How many of you, we were so busy before COVID, right? We had our lives, and if you have children, you had soccer practice that you were running to, or, whatever you had to attend to, or, after work, functions and events and whatnot. And then all of a sudden now you're quarantined. And now you look next to you and you're like, oh, so you're my spouse. Nice to meet you. You're pretty cool, right? And the same thing with your kids, because your kids were, if you have teenagers, right? Mine are just out of that, just graduated from high school and college. But, they scoot out of the house, so they're like a flash. You barely see them. Well, now you're seeing them a lot, right? And so the one thing that has changed is the way that we value our family and our core values with kind of that family unit and being at home and whatnot. So the things that this actually translates into consumer buying patterns. And really there's, I say, of the new never normal, there's 3 things that really stand out, right? Because how do we thrive in the new never normal? Because I think we all in this room can agree, right, that this will continue on for as long as we know, right? It's not like we're going to hit a button and everything's going to be like, okay, everything's fine now, right? So in order to thrive, we have to, number one, figure out how to create visibility for our businesses, right? Because again, people have changed. They may not be as socially active as they were before. They may not be comfortable going out in public. They may have masks every time you meet them. So it's harder to tell, nonverbals and facial expressions, right? The next thing, and especially if like Scottsdale School District, does anybody have the latest and greatest? They were talking about maybe going back to online learning, I heard recently. So yeah, depending on the numbers, so, right? So the point is, you always have to be ready for plan B, which then goes into flexibility, right? So we have to wire in the flexibility. We learned it during COVID to be flexible and nimble, right? To be able to move on a dime. I worked at the time for a higher education university, and we literally had to put up our education online in 4 weeks. I mean, it was crazy. The things that you couldn't imagine doing before, but now you found you're capable of, right? So we found that. And then also, that goes right into strength and resiliency, right? So those are the core tenets. All right, so according to studies, these are the behaviors that we have found out from the Gardner Institute of what has changed. So, number 1, of the consumers who were surveyed, and this is a national survey, right? It's not just here in Scottsdale, this is national. 84% had an increased use of social media to engage with brands, right? 84%. 78% had an increased preference for digital commerce, right? So that means going to your website, and we'll talk about that. Your website is always important, right? And of course, probably everybody in this room has a website, but it's never more has it become more important because it's your first line that a lot of your consumers will learn about your business and meet your business. So what's that first impression like? And we'll talk about that. 78% had an increased expectation for proactive brand communications. Okay, what that means is brands and companies reaching out to them to be proactive, right? So if I go to you, your senior living center, and I filled out an inquiry, right, for my loved one, then I expect to have her communicate to me, not her direct, maybe, all right, directly to say, Stephanie, thank you for stopping by and looking at a place for your mom, Janice is my mom's name, right? And to have it be very specific to my needs and what I'm looking for. Gone are the days where it's kind of the spray and pray, right? The universal approach that you put out there, right? Customers want things that are specific. This is a big one, guys. 59% have a heightened aversion to risk. Well, of course that makes sense. Look what all happened to us. The ground fell out from under us, right? We were all like, hey, we got this. We have our life. Like, it's good. We get it with social media. And then, boom, it changed overnight, right? So definitely, people are very risk averse, which will go into the importance of relationships and doing business with who you know becomes paramount, right? That just makes sense. Increased price sensitivity. The other thing, so 56%, well, that makes sense, right? Because a lot, and I'm sure people in this room, and my utmost respect for all businesses in the struggle over the past year, right? A lot of people, obviously revenue was lost, businesses struggled, households, right? People lost their jobs, right? So now they're holding on to their money, right? And they're very careful with it. Okay. I love this one. See who can get this. 34% increased number of stakeholders in decision making. So let's go back to the household. Remember, you're meeting your spouse again, and you're introduced to your kids again, right? And to that crack in the wall you've always ignored, but now you're staring at it every day. That's why you call a contractor finally, right? Right? But the number of stakeholders that make decisions now has increased because all these people that you were quarantined with, now that you're able to like step outside of your house, they still, right, you form kind of this relational bond. Again, this is a good thing, by the way. But now there's more people involved in decision making than before, right? So now you're not just marketing to one person, it could be to the spouse, to the significant other, domestic partner, right? Children, whoever is their main influencer. Okay. And then increased desire, reduced desire, to try new brands. That goes with the whole risk averse, right? Okay. Okay, so far so good? Okay. So I know this is quite an eye chart, but I love, kind of the infographics, and it's kind of fun. And don't worry, we won't go on over all of it, but the real quick touch points I just want to share. So this is a happy afternoon, but just indulge me for a second. Our societies were traumatized, right? So we're not just talking about something that affected the economy or we're talking trauma. So 18% of people had a family member whose health has been severely impacted, or they're no longer with us, which is incredibly tragic, right? So you have these people now who are now going out trying to continue on with what the new never normal is, and this is their new way of life, right? So this is a psychology that you have to be aware of. You've got a lot of bruised people, right? Consumer trust we talked about. We talked about online shopping is up, right? So more important than ever is to get those digital and your website up. Anxiety and emotional impact, right? Anxiety is sky high, right, for consumers. And also we know the emotional impact. So what it translates in from a marketing perspective is that when people have anxiety as businesses, and when we do marketing, we need something to alleviate their concerns, right, and their fears. So let's say, for example, that they're doing a landscaping project on a home. So they might be concerned about the price. They might be concerned about the time that's going to take. Is it going to be disruptive to their family? Are you going to have to dig up their yard and, their kids cannot play anymore, things like that? Where's their dog going to go potty, right? So it's one of the things, and I'm going to share this with you all, it's a secret, but marketing is actually known as the entity or the team with empathy. And when I heard that, because I was speaking at a conference for the American Marketing Association, and I was like, empathy, that's interesting, go on. And what it is it's the ability to share in the point of view of another individual. So when you're thinking about your strategies for your consumers, right, for your customers, we all have to put our mindset in an empathetic stance and actually think from their point of view. Knowing all these things, what could be their concerns? What could be, how do I meet their needs? Are they anxious, or could they be anxious about something, right? Is a health concern? So these are how it translates into businesses, okay. Okay, and then the next thing that we're going to talk about, and this is my favorite. So these are kind of dispelling truths that a lot of us kind of held near and dear to our heart, right? These are marketing truths that we all, we heard somewhere and we memorialized them. Okay, so we're going to shatter those, right? So this is good. So number one, the old truth states that marketing begins by knowing your customer. Everybody in the room's like, yeah, okay, that's Captain Obvious, thank you. But the new truth is marketing begins with knowing your customer segment. Here's the difference. So as you all know in your businesses, you don't just have one customer profile, right? You have many segments, right? Core segments that you market to, right? And when I say segment, I mean gender, age, income, profession that somebody's in, maybe ethnicity, race, geography. You know, some of you service the Scottsdale area, some of you service, you know, the Metro Phoenix area, and some of you may service nationwide or globally, right? So all of these are individual segments. And as you know, limited funds, we all have limited funds. No matter who you are, you have limited funds, right? And so you have to pick your top core segments that you're going to spend your time marketing, because you can't do the blanket to all. There's just not enough, right? There's not enough funds to go around. Okay, so some of the things we know, and this is kind of just a recap. Affordability first, health first, right? Makes sense. We're all health conscious. Health is now number one at the top of things that people think about. Well, that goes without saying of what just happened, right? So whatever your business is, and with any different business model, think of how you can emphasize health, wellness, safety, right, in your business. Planet first. So based on what we all went through, consumers are also looking for companies, and this is where the cause marketing comes in, that are concerned with our communities. So instead of just, you know, like we always say back in the day, where companies would make a profit and they would have what's called product-centric marketing and say, this is my product, do you want it? Right? Nowadays, that does not go over well with consumers, right? So what they're interested in is called the consumer-centric marketing, which is, you have a need, I understand your need, I am a solution to meeting your need or solving your dilemma or whatnot. And in addition to making a profit, because there's nothing wrong with making a profit, right? The business likes it, chamber likes that. They're all like, okay, good. But what do you do to give back to your community, right? So give back to the community of Scottsdale, right? Give back to the planet if you're like a global company, right? Do no harm. So that's really important, especially, and this is not a workshop on Gen Z today, but you know, Gen Z, right, is the up and coming generation. So that is your teenagers to your young 20. It gets in the middle, it gets a little murky, but then they switch over to millennials, right? And then go up, right? There's a whole nother seminar in that. But Gen Z is the consumer that is up and coming. They're smart, they're savvy, they hustle, so they have money. Right? My son probably already has more than I do right now. He's 19. I'm not kidding you. I'm like, can I borrow, you know? Right? And so my point is, though, they care about the planet and what you're doing to serve others, not just be self-serving. Okay. That's society first. And then experience first. So experience is really important for brands, because it's the experience that you have with that brand that will leave a lasting taste. So no longer is it just about the product or the service that I offer. What is that experience, right? Because now that people cherish what's going on and they cherish life so much, not that we didn't before, but now it's just everything's so precious. So now we're all into experiences. So make sure, what is that experience like that I want my customer to have? We'll talk about that a little bit more too. Old truth, you are competing with your competitors, right? New truth, you are competing with the last best experience your customer had. It's kind of refreshing, right? Because I always say competitors are a great thing. They're not an evil, they're a great thing. Because your competitors then get more interested in your space. So have a friendship, fall in love with your competitors. Make friends with them. Always, right? Keep your eye on your, what do they say, your enemies, right? But no, they are your friends, right? So they get people interested in the category, but then make sure you differentiate yourself. And we call these the attributes of your business. So what specifically does your business do that nobody else does that's going to solve the need? Not what your business has, like, I am the best landscaper ever. And you might think that, right? But what is it that you serve that'll solve their need? So this fancy term is called customer experience, or CX, right? You could sound real hip, CX, right? Okay, next thing. Okay, I promised you this. Okay, so old truth is customers hope you have what they want, right? So again, we're going to go back in the old days, whatever the old days are to you, right? And they would come into a store and they're like, do you have, or I hope you have, right? Well, here's the thing. Now that we have digital and the internets, and I'm being funny by saying that, right? People are very savvy and they're smart and they do research. So when they come into your location, they already know about you, right? So they are specifically looking for you to solve whatever issue they need, right? And they want you to cut right down to the chase and get to them. They don't want the little pitch again, right? They come in the door and they're like, Ryan, this is my issue. I saw it on the website and I need you to help me. And I got 5 minutes, right? He's like all over it, right? Exactly. So it used to be price, product, place, and promotion. Those are the 4 Ps. Okay, now it is content, commerce, community, convenience, consistency, and customization. Everybody remember that? There's a test after. Okay. All right. So content. So everything in your business right now is content. And what do I mean by that? I mean video content. I mean articles, blogs, social media, testimonials. And I don't just mean like, you know, I went from 70 pounds to this. I'm talking about real human stories. You know, the ones that do this at your heart. And I did business with this company, and this is how it helped transform me into this, right? Believable, genuine, and authentic, right? And actually, you guys have heard this. This is a good thing for the chamber, I mean, for any budgets, because maybe 15 years, I'm dating myself, everything had to be like super, super high produced. Now, they want it to be authentic and genuine. So iPhone, that's fine, right? It's good quality, excellent quality, right? And so they want it to, if you want to do a video and you get a customer who is a brand ambassador, that means they love you, right? Have them give their story from the heart. Don't script it. And then edit it and then put it on social media. YouTube, well, just give away the answer. I was going to say, what is the top, now you know the answer. What is the top search engine? Okay, I just gave it away. Okay. All right, but it's YouTube. So you want to have your video content up there because when they're searching for your business, your video comes up. They form a relationship. They get to know how you've changed an experience and you transform things. Boom. And then you have an inquiry form, and now they contact you. Okay. Commerce, we said it's now a blend, right, of physical and e-commerce, right? So be prepared to have that blend. And then again, I'm sorry to say that, we all need to be prepared at a moment's notice to go back online completely, right? But that's cool. We learn flexibility. We're resilient. So we can do that, right? Community, right? We already talked about that. Convenience, right? Offering, remember I said that the 5-minute rule? People, they're very time sensitive. So make things convenient for them. So remember like during they still do it, the pandemic, and you would order your groceries and you just pulled up your car, pushed your button on your back, trunk, and they'd put it in and you'd be like, thank you, and you'd like drive away. Bonus of the pandemic, I'm sorry, bonus, right? But do you think now people are gonna like not want that anymore? Now that we had a taste of that? So I use that as an example because it's all about convenience for your customers, not for you, but for your customer, right? Okay, I gotta get on my little high horse for 1 second. Coupons, can we talk about that for a second? Does anybody use coupons here? Anybody? Okay, let's just talk about this for 1 second. Okay. I'm on my high horse. Just know I'm on my high. Okay, if you have a coupon and it's expired, please take it. I tell you why. Because if a customer, because we all know, right, and for marketing, this is what I do all day, I monitor inquiry to enrollments to starts, right, for my business, right? So the cost of acquiring a customer is gold, right? And you're constantly trying to get that cost down. Right? So each new customer, depending on your business, could be $1,000 or $2,000 to acquire that customer. So you have a customer who's standing in front of you with a coupon, right? They read your ad, they took the little coupon, they came in, and you're like, that's expired. Right? Are you with me? Okay. So that's the end of my high horse. Honor the coupon, right? Because that is a customer that's standing right in front of you. Say, absolutely, and I'll give you more, right? Make them feel like a wonderful experience because you paid to get that inquiry. Okay, I'm off my high horse now. Okay. All right, so we talked about this real quickly. Old truth, courting customers is just like dating. This is courting customers is like online dating. Okay, so this talks about your website, right? So this is my little lecture again. Jen, I'm going to stand on my high horse again. Okay, look at your website. It is like if you weren't like doing like, if you were dating your website, okay? You're dating your website. What does your homepage of your website look like, right? Does it represent your brand? Is it what you, like if you're going on a date, first impression, that's your website, right? So is that the first impression you want people to have of your business? Is it professional? Does it represent your brand, right? Does it have hidden information? Or is information readily and easily available? Because remember, the first place people will look for you is the website. And if they're like, okay, let's say it's XYZ company, and they're like, okay, so I want to know what products they have, and if I take more than 3 clicks to find out what you do, I'm gone, right? Who has that kind of time? Or prices, people like to hide prices. Now I get it, if you're in landscaping, you can't just have a yard cost this, right? Because there's a million variables, I get that. However, if you can offer that to people, because remember, it's a sophisticated shopper now, and so they do their research. Remember, Gen Z, millennials too, and us, you know, they do their research, they compare. If you go on Google, if you go on Yelp, you see reviews, ratings, right? Then you even have the ability to line them all up. Do you ever see that? And you can line up businesses and you can compare, right? So they're doing that, don't kid yourself, they're doing that. So put as much information, make it as easy as possible for them on your website to know about you, who you are, the value you serve. And then the most important thing is, make sure they know how to get in touch with you. A lot of people hide the contact information, the bottom footer, and it's this big. I've never understood that, right? So you want them to contact you. So make it really big, like, you know, up in the top architecture, navigation, right? And then put another box, contact me, inquiry forms. We won't get into that. That's a different webinar. But online searches skyrocketed in March of 2020, growing by 50% just in that month. And now it's over 35% year over year. So it's incredible. Old truth, customers sit at the heart of your marketing strategy. New truth, customers sit at the heart of your customer journey. You're like, wait, what? What does that mean? All right, I will tell you. Okay, I love this diagram. All right, we'll go through it quickly, just so you understand kind of like where we're coming from. So the first thing is your customers have no clue you exist in the world, right? Fair enough. Next one, now they're aware, right? Whether they saw your ad, heard you on the radio, saw you on TV, YouTube, social media, whatever. Now they're in the consideration phase, where they're actually considering you. It may be among others. They may look for Google reviews or Yelp reviews, whatnot. Then they're in the evaluation process. So remember, that's where having the information readily at hand will move your prospective customer from consideration to evaluation, right? Because if they don't have information, you fall off. You know, this company's too hard, right? I don't have any information. Then they make their decision. I'm going to do business. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give them a call, right? I'm going to give Ryan a call. Now, usually what happens is after you get the sale, all right, then you like hand it off to the team, and if you're in sales or business owner, maybe you move on to the next. But then the work starts. That's when the onboarding of the new customer is important. Because remember, it's all about customer experience, right? So if I signed up with you and you were amazing and then you hand me off to my team, your team, and then everything falls apart, they're gone, right? So all that hard work, money, effort, time, resources, right? So this makes sure that you're onboarding, you have a plan for onboarding. Then this is the adoption and the value realization. So then they get comfy with your product and they realize, or help them to realize, the value. You know, look what I did for your yard, right? Now you can have guests over. Now you can have parties. Now, you know, you don't have to go out and spend all this money out. You can have a wonderful, you can have friends over your house, right? You realize value. Then they become very loyal to you. And this is advocacy, right? This is the holy grail of marketing. This is your brand ambassadors. This is the people that love you, right? And then you capitalize on that for the people that love you. You love them back, but then have them help you to propel you, whether it's referrals, video content, online, right? Reviews on Google, etc., right? All those help. So this is kind of the whole consumer life cycle. Number 6, relationships matter, right? Everybody's like, yeah, okay. But now relationships are absolutely everything. So again, going back to that, the floor fell out from under us, right? So now people want to do business with people they know, they trust, and they care about them, right? You're not just a customer. They have empathy. They care about you as a person, right? And so that's more important than ever right now. And then a couple last ones. Number 7, the old truth is agility is a technology process. And the new one is agility is a modern marketing approach. What does this mean? This means in order, the customer right now, as they're educated, they're savvy, this generation that came up, actually millennials, but now the Gen Z, they don't know anything but technology, right? So, my generation, right, we had to learn it along the way, and, we're all doing very well if you're in like the Gen X or the boomers, right? Gen X, but they don't know anything but that. So make sure that you're mobile first, technology, digital first, because that's how the new consumer is going to find you, right? And then the last one is your brand should stand behind great products. That was kind of the old mantra. Have a great product. How many times have you heard that? Have a great product, it'll sell itself, right? Well, now it's your brand should stand behind great values. So people want to know, remember, they want to do business with who they trust, who cares about them. So what are your values? And are they congruent with their values, right? Stand for something, and then stay consistent. Okay, and then number 9 is you need the right tech stack to drive modern marketing success. So the good news is, and this is a whole nother webinar, but in order to have automation, right, for your inquiries, right, there's Salesforce, I don't know if some of you, customer relationship management, CRM. There's so many different platforms out there. Like, I'll give you an easy one. For email marketing, Constant Contact, anybody use that? Okay. So there are things out there that can automate your processes without costing a fortune, right? And that's the good thing, that this technology is literally popping up every day, every minute, right? And kudos to you guys, by the way, because it's because of how fast the world is moving and technology, it's great to come in and learn continually, right? Because that's really kind of the society that we're at. And then the old truth, marketing is important for growth. What's the first thing at any budget if a company is performing poorly to get cut? Right. That makes, right? What did you say? HR, right? Yeah, marketing. That always that just astounds me, right? So let's cut off the source that's going to bring in the revenue and we're going to be okay, right? So now marketing is at the center of the growth agenda, right? Depending on the size of the company, but like in even our like public companies, marketing has a seat at the table. They're no longer just the team that people give it to them after and say, these are the people that makes it pretty. I remember those days, right? Now marketing, we're grown up, we have a seat at the table because we set strategy, the marketing strategy, product strategy, delivery, and the channel, which marketing channels we're going to use, right? Okay, everybody doing okay? Okay, we're getting there. Okay, So just, this is at an eyeball glance, and this is I put this out, this is a kind of a culmination of all the different events and, like I said, American Marketing Association and the university. This is kind of a culmination of all the research of what we found has really changed in the last year to 18 months, okay? So number one, people want purpose-driven brands that stand for something. Number two, remember, empathy and care, right? That's paramount, that your brand understands your consumer and what they're going through and cares about them. Truly does. People know if you're faking it. Focus on the customer experience. Consumer-centric approach. How is it that it solves their needs? What is in it for them? What makes it easy for your customer, right? E-commerce platforms we talked about. Maximize digital. I think that's a big takeaway, right? Especially in case, again, the variant, we don't know, right? In case, then we have to go all online again, right? We're good to go, right? Influencer marketing, right? So this is taking the ones that are the biggest brand ambassadors or speak for your sector and let them speak for your brand, right? That has high credibility for your brand. Risk averse, price sensitive, global commerce. So because of now the whole world is online, literally, and with the pandemic more so than ever, now you're not necessarily just competing with those in your community or the state or the US, now it's also overseas, right? So email lifecycle marketing, right? So that's nurturing your prospects as they go through, right, the sales funnel. Inclusivity, right? So inclusivity is making sure not to alienate anyone, right? So making sure you've got different ethnicities, gender, right? So being very, very careful and conscientious of your audience. And then this is my favorite too, UGC, user-generated content. So this is when your customers post about you and tag you. That's the best ever, right? Because customers look at that, or I would say, they look at that as legit, right? So if you can get someone, you're from a bank, right? So if you can get someone to post about the amazing experience they had at your bank, that they were able to get a loan and transform their life or education or new car or whatever it was, home, right? First home, people love first home stories. And then tag your business, right? That's gold, right? That's called marketing gold. Okay. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit real quickly about relationship marketing and a brand that's focused on relationships, trust, and value. So down here are the functional benefits. What I mean by that is most businesses spend the majority of their time promoting your functional benefits of your company. Do you know what I mean by that? Right? So, we're a hotel, we have rooms, we have Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi, we have breakfast, right? Those are called functional benefits, like, okay, right? My favorite is too when they say, like quality cleaning or quality, and I always like, as opposed to what? Like one that's horrible, right? So be careful of those that are, I call them Captain Obvious, right? If it's Captain Obvious to you, then don't use it, right? So what I mean by this is elevate then your brand to the emotional benefits, right? Remember what the consumer needs. You're here to solve their problem, right? And then self-expressive is in how they feel afterwards. How did you make them feel? So not only did you solve their problem, but did you make them feel empowered, happy with their home, right? Right? Able to do something they weren't able to do. That is your formula for how you actually message for your brand, right there. So come out of the functional and rise up, right, to the next level. All right, so when we talk about brand equity, I think everyone is pretty clear on this. Whoop, I already did. So everyone knows that when you want, when you sneeze and you say, do you have a Kleenex, right? Because it's become a brand name. Or the same thing is, what's this? Band-Aid, right? Is it a Band-Aid? It is a, what is it, Holly? A self-adhesive strip, okay? But these companies have spent so much consistency and equity that they own the product name. That is like, again, that's the ultimate, like, call it, goals, right? Okay. But a strong brand identity, right? So in your company, be consistent, stand for something, have your attributes, and then just keep hitting them over and over again, right? Creates brand awareness, credibility, builds loyalty and trust, conveys stability. When people see you, when they see you on TV, when they see you on YouTube, when they hear you on the radio, when they see you on social, now you're a legit brand, right? Right? And oh, I know them, right? I've seen them. Also, it's top of mind awareness. Has anybody heard of top of mind awareness? Okay. So top of mind awareness is with your consumers, right? You're never going to know if you get, when a consumer is going to need your product. But you want to be out there so that when that time comes, you're the trusted partner that's going to fulfill their need, right? That's top of mind awareness. Okay. The next slide is about cause marketing benefits. So again, we're not going to spend too much time because we did discuss this. But again, customers are looking for brands that stand for a value and they support some kind of cause, right? Philanthropy. They give back to the community. And if you do, promote it. And I mean in just a very beautiful, authentic way, right? So if you do, AZTV, I'm gonna promote my friends here. They did a wonderful event called Stuff the Bus, right? And Stuff the Bus built backpacks and gave it to the Title I schools, right? That needed it, and even I remember Salt River, I think, Reservation. They had the backpacks for the children that they don't even have a pencil to go to school, right? Now it's a TV station, so it's easy for them to promote it because they have their TV. But the point is, if you engage in some kind of philanthropy that aligns with your business values and model, then promote that to the public. People love that, right? They want to do business with people who care. 90% of consumers are likely to switch to a brand associated with a good cause. Okay. All right. Consistency is critical, right? So you don't want to just, there's one method of advertising, and I know with budgets being as they are, that no matter, if you've got the coupon person that knocks at your door, or I should say calls you or emails you or whatnot, right? Or the flyer or whatever, or that Jen calls you for TV, right? You want to make sure that you're doing it as part of a consistent plan, right? Because if you buy it and it's like one and done, then you don't have frequency, okay? And so consistency is key, and that's why, now obviously, look at these big brands, right? Lerner and Rowe, everybody's singing, it's a way to go, call 977-191. Why do I know this? Because they're on constantly, right? So it's all about frequency, right? Now, you may say I don't have their kind of budget. That's okay, right? Because you can do things with digital, right? And with social media and YouTube that you don't have to have those huge budgets. But real quickly, I'm going to get academic for a minute. The power of three theory, okay? So it used to be, and this is kind of again, even 5 years ago, you wanted to at least have 3 exposures for a consumer to remember your brand. That was kind of the rule of thumb, right? So 1, to make them aware, oh, I know you exist, okay. 2, to show the relevance of the product to them, oh, okay, I get it. You can help my mom who needs some care. I got it, right? And then 3rd is to remind them of the benefits. Oh, so if I have this, she can get better care because I am not home all the time. Things like that. Something might happen to her, like why I run to the store. This way she'll be cared for, right? So now you remind them of the benefits. Well, guess what it is now, 2021, 6.3 times. Why do you think that is? Cluttered marketplace. There are so many messages, digital, you have to be out there even more to be noticed, right? Okay, so that kind of shows you where things are going. Okay. another quick fun fact. We're nearing the end. You guys have good stamina. Okay. I just thought this was interesting. So talking about YouTube and TV for a minute and video. So this is kind of the transformation of consumer engagement, right? And so 90% of all of the media interactions are screen-based, right? Screen-based. So that means, our cell phones, laptop, right? Our TV, tablet, right? So that equates to you have to be visual, right? And then on the average, we spend 9.6 hours in front of screens every day. Okay? Yeah. I know, it's crazy, right? So obviously, you know where you need to be, right? And this is the visual shift. So before you could just advertise on TV, and then cable came out, and ooh, that was cool. We have so many more options, right? And then all the video on demand, and then, right, multimedia device, mobile, internet, smart TV. Okay, so the power of video, right? And again, you guys you can hire Arizona Filmworks. They are wonderful. They are awesome back there. Please talk to him. But you can also use, like I said, your iPhone and create something authentic and genuine as well, not instead of, as well. Okay. But it's interesting. In 2016, just a wee few years ago, 61% of the content was video. Now it's 86% in 2021. So if you don't have video as part of your business mix, you're missing that much of the audience, right? That's pretty significant. Okay. Some more stats for you here. The proof is in the numbers, okay? Video can increase web traffic. This is where your search engine comes in by 200%, right? If you have video, right, associated with it. Okay. And then talking about how consumers retain the information, 90% of people discover new brands via YouTube. And YouTube is owned by Google, so they're together. Okay. Okay. All right. The other thing that was interesting is, I'm just going to point out one more thing on video, and then I'm going to leave it. Video drives 57% increase in organic traffic to search engines, right? Search engines. So if somebody is searching, right? Google, we all do it, we all use it, searching for, senior living in Scottsdale. Your business, if you have content, comes from your website, comes from your video content, okay? So therefore, you won't be on page 12. Who when you look at a business, goes to page 12? You stop at 1? Does anybody go to 2? You know what I'm talking about when you Google? Anybody? You do? Okay, all right, you guys are thorough. Okay, all right, that's good. That's good, we got some researchers. Okay, all right. So we're coming to the end. This is called the integrated marketing campaign, right? There's a lot here. Don't let it scare you because it looks like it's a lot, but it's not. Because know your consumer, this is your summary, your target markets, consumer needs, and what your consumer wants, how you solve their problem. If you solve their problem, you will be their hero. Literally, you want to be their hero, right? Because then they're happy, they'll come back. And what happens, like if you go out to a restaurant, it was fabulous, you tell everybody, don't you? Oh my God, it's the best place ever, right? What if it was meh? Do you say anything?
If it comes up.
If it comes up, so would you try that? And you'd be like, yeah. Okay, what if you hated it? What if it was like a horrible experience? You tell people, right? So they're either lovers or haters, right? Okay, so you want to be in the lover category. So be their hero, right? The next one is convenience. It's all about product availability, ease of use, and giving them readily available product information and support and how to contact you, right? Clearly and easily. Communication. This is your advertising, your promotions, and public relations. Right? So share your stories, share the heartwarming stories of your customers, right? That's a beautiful thing. People love that, especially nowadays. Any good news, they eat it up. They love it because everybody wants happy news right now. And then the cost, cost of the purchase, understanding the consumer's anxiety about cost and how to, meet their budget and meet their needs. So this is the entire spectrum of what's called an integrated marketing strategy. Now, you don't necessarily, everybody's like, oh my God, you don't have to have all of this for your business all at once, right? But all of these different channels, whether it's social media, email marketing, I'm just grabbing some out, search, right, video, public relations, all of this. Remember this chart right here? That's why I have it as a reprise. Each one of those channels specifically meets a consumer as they go along. I call it the game of life, right? So each channel serves a different purpose on meeting your consumer where they're at in their life cycle. Now you're all like sophisticated marketers now. Okay, and then as a good marketer, I would be remiss, it's like my conscience, if I didn't tell you this. So once you make a strategic plan, again, understand your segments, understand who they are, what needs that you're going to solve, how you're going to reach them, what channels, right, within budget, but then have an expectation of results, right? So you know if it's working and what does success look like for you, right? So and this is a whole nother workshop. I've got a whole Chamber University curriculum for you. So a holistic view of understanding your consumer's journey from being like unaware to making a purchase to being an ambassador. Multi-channel attribution, this is what I do for a living right here. But sounds fancy, but basically it's like what's working, right? So if you do AZTV, if you do YouTube, if you do radio, if you do, the local, whatever, the home guide, which by the way, those home guides are awesome. I sit in the couch with them, you know what I'm talking about? Does anybody here work on those? And I flip through those and I'm like, honey, we need to fix our sling chairs, right? And then I like take a picture on my phone and I call. So those are very good, yeah. But anyway, so assigning, hey, we got X amount of leads that converted to sales from this source, right? Campaign ROI, did I get brand lift? Did I get the sales I wanted? And then audience reach. Who did I hit? Did I hit the right people? Or did I hit a bunch of people that called my phone, but they did not turn into customers for whatever reason, right? So then you might say, let me find a new fishing hole. These are great fish, but they're not fish for me, right? Okay. All right. So that is it. So thank you. You guys are very, very attentive audience.